Hello YouTube, this is Evan. I'm here to give you a Watt deck profile. It's a direct attack deck. Couple things before we get fully into the deck. I don't run the hopper lock. I have the cards to do it, but it doesn't fit my style. I don't really like the way it feels, but I'm more about the direct attack and messing with my opponent. So as you can see, I got 3 Wattgiraffes, which is a great card. Messes with your opponent if you get the attack off, and it just ruins their day. Got 3 Wattcobras. He's great for searching. That's what he's built for, direct attack and search. 3 Wattdragonflies. This card's really great for searching, getting your field. I usually use it to set up other Watt cards I need on the field to continue stuff. Wattpheasant. This guy's excellent now, especially now, because if you direct attack and then you use his effect to remove a face-up exceed monster on the field, it loses materials. So if you're facing Utopia and you need it out of the way, I mean, there's any number of exceeds, you just need their materials gone to get them off the field. Wattlemurs, just to help, keep myself alive. I actually really like using Dragonfly to bring this guy out because they're not expecting it, and they see this here and it's like, oh, if I attack this now, I have no battle turn or battle phase next turn, and it just messes them up. And then the remaining monsters, I have a couple Wattfox, just because he's really useful at stopping my opponent's stuff, and a Morphing Jar, just because I love Morphing Jar. I've got him in all my decks. Pretty much from there, it's just focus on getting the direct attack off. That's what all these guys are for. And yeah. Okay, with the monster cards, I showed you all my direct attack stuff. For my spells and traps, it's a lot of either it hurts my opponent or it protects my monsters. That's what Wattcastle does. If one of my monsters gets attacked and destroyed, well, actually, it doesn't have to be destroyed. When one of my monsters gets attacked, the monster that attacked it after damage calculation loses 1,000 attack forever, which is really helpful when decks that like to use stronger monsters. Other than that, it's pretty much pure stables. So Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm. These Swords Revealing explains itself. 1 day of peace keeps myself alive. I mean, I can't do damage to my opponent, but the draw card's nice. Messenger of Peace. I pay 100 life points. Monsters with 1,500 or more attack cannot attack, which is really nice. And because especially all Watt monsters are under that. And Kaiser Colosseum. My opponent can't outnumber me on monsters, so if I have 1 on the field, they can only summon and have 1 unless they already had more when I activate Kaiser. Drawback is if I have no monsters, they can summon as many as they want, but this Kaiser is really good for stopping swarm decks from just taking control of their field and using it. Recycling Battery is just to add 2 back to my hand. It's a really good card. My trap cards work about the same as my magic do. They either hurt my opponent or they help me. Start with the ones that hurt my opponent. Solemn Judgment, stop their stuff. Dimensional Prison explains itself. Fiendish Chain stops an effect. From there, we got Breakthrough Skill, which I love this card. I need to get more. The Robbins, right there. 1, if I do damage and I have that active, my opponent discards a random card from her hand, and the other one, if I do damage, my opponent has to discard the top card off their deck, which is this useful effect to slow down my opponent. It's really it pisses people off. I have both as active and they aren't able to pull a Heavy Storm or something to get rid of them. Had one guy one time, he only drew an MST and he didn't know which one to get rid of. He could not decide which one to get rid of, and it's kind of fun watching him struggle with that. The other traps I have a lot of traps, are stuff that keep my monsters alive. So defense draw, yeah, it doesn't keep my monsters alive, but I take no damage and I get to draw a card, and drawing a card is nice. Impenetrable Attack has got that the switch effect. I can either take no battle damage, which is amazing, or I can target a monster I control and it can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects during this battle phase. So it's really handy. Waboku, explains itself. Got double threatening roars just to stop their battle phase, and a negate attack to stop their battle phase, just because for some reason I couldn't find a third threatening roar. And then I got a Call of Haunted, just because it's nice bringing a monster back occasionally. Okay, now for the extra deck. there's a couple of tuners in here, and you can switch out tuners, and there's a couple of the Watt monsters that you can special summon that have even more stars that are tuners. And the Watt monsters are all generics, level 3s, level 4s, that are good for exceeds, but that's not what this deck focuses on. So I only mainly use these two guys if I head towards something in my extra deck. Wattchimera, I really like him, especially if I have my Robbin cards activated. Because when I do damage with this, I place a random card from my opponent's hand onto their deck. So essentially, if I have my other two activated, they lose 2 from their hand, and then 1 goes from their deck. It just works really well. Hydra ends up, it's basically Gold Sarcophagus. If I get the direct attack off, the Gold Sarcophagus effect activates, and it goes, I remove from play a card from my deck, and I get it 2 turns from now. Yeah, it's kind of obscure, but he's a direct attack for 1500. He's really nice. That's pretty much it for this Watt deck profile. You can always switch out stuff in your extra deck and use whatever magic traps make you happy, but I like the way this deck runs. I can keep myself alive and continuously chip away at my opponent. I mean, I only have to do 8 direct attacks, and I've got it. Which, after special summoning, using other monsters, and I have the ability to use magic traps that do that, it becomes a lot easier than it sounds. Shout out to my friends that bought me Wattgiraffes. I had one, and then for my birthday they gave me 2 more, and I was so pumped. Best birthday ever, pretty much. Thanks, everybody.